Elon Musk once went an entire year and paid zero federal income tax. Jeff Bezos did it too. In a year his wealth climbed by tens of billions of dollars. Not a lower rate. Not a clever deduction on the edges. Zero. And here is the part that should stop you cold. They did not hide the money in some island vault. They did it out in the open, following a plan so simple it fits in 3 words. Now I know exactly what you are thinking, because I thought it too. They are billionaires. They have armies of accountants and lawyers doing things you and I could never touch. And on the scale, sure, that is true. But the strategy itself, the actual mechanism, is not a secret and it is not illegal. It has a nickname that finance people say out loud at dinner parties. It is called buy, borrow, die. 3 words. Buy, borrow, die. And by the end of this, you are going to understand each one, and you are going to see the exact moment where the tax bill does not get delayed, it gets deleted, erased, so that nobody ever pays it. That 3rd word is where the whole thing turns, and it is the piece almost nobody explains. But you have to understand the first 2 first, or the last one will just sound like a magic trick instead of something built into the law on purpose. So let me build this slowly, piece by piece, because the power is in how the 3 steps stack on top of each other. Stay with me, because it flips completely near the end, and the flip is the reason this matters to you and not just to Elon. Start with the thing everyone gets wrong about taxes. Most people believe that if your wealth goes up you owe tax. You made money, you pay the government a cut. That feels obvious. But it is not how the law actually works, and this single misunderstanding is the crack the whole strategy lives inside. Here is the real rule. In America you are not taxed when an asset you own goes up in value. You are only taxed when you sell it. That word sell is everything. The tax people call it a realization event. Until you realize the gain, until you actually cash it out, the growth is invisible to the tax system. So if you own a stock that climbs from $1 to $1,000, and you just hold it, you owe nothing, zero. The gain sits there, growing, untouched, and the tax man cannot reach it, because in the eyes of the law you have not made any money yet. You just own something worth more. Now sit with that for a second, because a normal person almost never gets to use it. Why? Because a normal person earns a paycheck, and a paycheck is the single most heavily taxed kind of money there is. You work, the money hits your account already taxed, federal, state, payroll, all of it skimmed before you even see it. The wealthy do not live on a paycheck. That is the first quiet move. They live on assets that grow, and growth is not taxed until you sell. So step 1, the buy, is simply this. Own things that appreciate, stock, real estate, whole companies, not cash, not wages, but assets that climb in value while the tax system looks away. So Elon Musk holds an enormous pile of Tesla and SpaceX stock. On paper he is worth hundreds of billions, but that wealth is unrealized. He has not sold it, so under the rule we just covered, there is no taxable income from it. His net worth can jump by 50 billion in a year, and the tax owed on that jump is exactly nothing, because he never triggered a sale. Which leads to the obvious problem, and this is the problem step 2 solves. If he never sells, how does he actually pay for anything? The mansions, the jets, the day-to-day life of a billionaire. You cannot swipe a stock certificate at a store. At some point he needs real spendable cash. And the naive answer is, well, he must sell some stock to fund his life. But the second he sells, he triggers that realization event, and the tax comes roaring back. Sell $1 billion in stock, and the government wants its capital gains cut, hundreds of millions of dollars. So selling is off the table. That is the whole thing he is trying to avoid. So here is the move. He does not sell, he borrows. This is the borrow, step 2, and it is the engine of the entire strategy. Instead of selling his stock to get cash, he walks into a bank and uses the stock as collateral for a loan. The bank says, you have $100 billion in Tesla stock. We will happily lend you say a few billion against it, at a very low interest rate, because your collateral is enormous and rock solid. He takes that borrowed cash and he spends it. On the house, the jet, the lifestyle, anything. And now here is the beautiful part, the part that makes the whole machine hum. Borrowed money is not income. When you take out a loan, the government does not tax it, because it is not yours to keep, you have to pay it back. So a billionaire can borrow billions of dollars, spend it on a life most of us cannot imagine, and report almost no taxable income at all. The stock never got sold, so there is no capital gain. The loan is not income, so there is no income tax. He is living lavishly, on money the tax system simply does not see. That is how you spend billions, and show the IRS a number close to zero. There is a name for these loans, when the collateral is stock. They are called securities-backed lines of credit. And the ultra-wealthy use them constantly. It is not exotic. Your private bank basically offers it as a standard product to anyone with a big enough portfolio. And I can already hear the objection forming in your head, the one that every smart person asks at this exact point. Wait. A loan has interest. Doesn't the interest eat him alive? Isn't he just trading a tax bill for an interest bill? Great question, and the answer is where this gets genuinely clever. Look at the 2 numbers, side by side. The interest on these giant collateralized loans might be, in a good environment, 2, 3, 4%. Meanwhile his stock, his Tesla, his index funds, whatever the collateral is growing at 7, 8, 10% a year on average over time. So the asset is growing faster than the loan is costing him. He borrows at 3% against something compounding at 8. The gap between those two numbers is pure profit. His wealth keeps climbing faster than the debt, so the loan never actually catches up to him. Let me put real numbers on it, so you feel the gap. Say he borrows $10 million against $100 million in stock, at 3%. That loan costs him $300,000 a year in interest. Sounds like a lot. But that $100 million in stock, growing at even 8%, is climbing by $8 million that same year. So he spent his $10 million, paid $300,000 to borrow it, and his underlying wealth still went up by nearly $8 million. The loan is a rounding error against the growth. Now compare that to selling. To get that same $10 million in cash by selling stock, he would owe capital gains tax of maybe $2 million right off the top, $300,000 in interest versus $2 million in tax. It is not even close. And it gets better, because in many cases the interest on a loan used for investment purposes can itself be deducted, shaving the real cost down even further. So think about what has happened here. He got cash to spend. He paid no tax to get it, because he borrowed instead of selling. His underlying stock kept growing, untouched, still compounding tax-free because he still has not sold it. And the small interest cost is dwarfed by that growth. He is, in a very real sense, being paid to borrow. But I know what you are thinking now. Okay, but the loan is still there. The debt does not vanish. Eventually somebody has to settle up. Eventually he has to pay it back, and to pay it back he has to sell. And when he sells, the tax finally hits. Right? And this is the turn. This is the third word, and it is the one nobody says out loud at the dinner party, because it sounds dark. But it is the entire point of the strategy. The third word is die. Here is what happens. The billionaire holds these assets and keeps borrowing against them for the rest of his life. He never sells. He carries the debt right up until the day he dies. And you are thinking, surely that is when the reckoning comes. Surely the estate has to sell everything and finally pay all those decades of deferred capital gains tax. It is the opposite. When he dies, something in the tax code activates that is so powerful, it feels like it must be a mistake. It is called the step-up in basis. Let me explain it carefully, because this is the whole ballgame. Your basis is what you originally paid for an asset. If you bought stock at $1 and it is now worth $1,000, your basis is $1 and your built-in gain is $999. That gain is what would get taxed if you sold. Now watch what the step-up does. When you die and your heirs inherit that stock, the law resets the basis to the value on the day you died. The new basis is $1,000. The $999 of gain that built up over your entire life, the gain that was never taxed because you never sold, is not passed to your heirs to deal with later. It is erased, wiped clean. It vanishes as if it never existed, so the tax was never deferred. It was deleted. Now put the whole machine together and watch it close. The heirs inherit the stock with a fresh stepped-up basis. They can sell it immediately and owe almost nothing, because in the eyes of the law there is barely any gain anymore. From that clean cash they pay off the loans the billionaire took out during his life. The debt disappears, and the decades of capital gains, the tax that a normal person would have paid every time they sold a winner, is never paid. Not by him, not by his heirs, not by anyone. He borrowed against it to fund his whole life tax-free, and then he died and the tax bill died with him. Buy, borrow, die. Now stop, because here is where most people watch this and walk away with the wrong lesson. They think, well, that is disgusting, or that is just for billionaires, nothing to do with me. And the second part is where they are wrong, because you cannot run this at a $100 billion scale, no, but the principles underneath each of the three words are not exotic. They are available to you, in smaller form, starting now, and understanding them will change how you handle your own money for the rest of your life. Take buy. The core lesson is that wages are the most taxed money and appreciating assets are the least. Every dollar you can shift from being taxed income into being an owned, growing asset is a dollar the tax system stops chewing on every year. That is the entire reason owning index funds or a home beats hoarding cash. Cash gets eaten by tax and inflation. Assets grow quietly, untaxed, until you sell. So the ordinary version of buy is simply, own things that grow, do not sit in cash, and do not sell your winners casually, because every sale is a voluntary tax event you chose to trigger. Take borrow. You will not get a $1 billion line against your stock, but the exact same idea powers a tool millions of regular people already touch, and most of them never see the connection. It is called a home equity line of credit, a HELOC. Your house has gone up in value. Instead of selling it and triggering tax and losing your home, you borrow against that increased value, tax-free, because a loan is not income, and you use the cash while the house keeps appreciating behind the loan. That is buy, borrow, die in miniature, and your neighbor is probably doing a version of it right now without realizing it is the same move Elon runs on Tesla stock. The scale is different, the mechanism is identical. And take die, the step up in basis, because this one is the part people assume only helps the rich, and that assumption costs ordinary families real money. The step up applies to you too. If you own a house or a portfolio of index funds that has grown for 30 years, and you simply hold it and pass it to your kids instead of selling it late in life, that entire lifetime of gains gets wiped clean for them. Your children can inherit the house you bought for $200,000, now worth $800,000, and the $600,000 of gain is erased. They pay tax on almost nothing. That is not a billionaire trick. That is a rule sitting in the code right now, for you. And most families never plan around it because nobody ever explained that selling late in life can be one of the most expensive mistakes you make. So remember the question I opened with. How does Elon Musk spend like a king and show the tax man a number close to zero? Now you have the whole answer, and it is almost annoying in how logical it is. He never sells, so he never triggers the tax. He borrows against what he owns, so he gets cash the government cannot see as income. His assets grow faster than the cheap loans cost him, and when he dies, the step-up erases the lifetime of gains, the loans get cleared from the estate, and the tax that was hanging over the whole thing simply evaporates. Every single step is legal, and every single step is built into the law on purpose, and that last part is the uncomfortable truth underneath all of this. This is not a loophole somebody snuck in. Congress wrote the realization rule. Congress wrote the deduction for investment interest. Congress wrote the step-up in basis. The system is not broken, it is working exactly as designed, and the design quietly rewards the person who owns assets and borrows against them over the person who earns a wage and pays as they go. The billionaire and the beginner are looking at the very same tax code. One of them read the part about how gains are actually taxed. The other one just had it withheld from every paycheck and never asked why. Here is the real point. The reason I made this whole thing. You are not going to become Elon Musk. You do not need to. But you can borrow the logic. Stop thinking about wealth as the size of your paycheck and start thinking about it as the size of the assets you own that grow while you sleep. Be slow to sell your winners, because every sale is a tax you volunteered to pay. When you need cash and you own something valuable, ask whether borrowing against it beats selling it. And plan the end of the game, because how your assets pass on can wipe out a lifetime of tax, or hand it all to the government, depending on one decision most people never make on purpose. Those moves will not put you on a rocket to Mars. But over a lifetime, and over the generation after you, they can quietly keep hundreds of thousands of dollars inside your family that would otherwise have leaked out to tax, year after year, sale after sale, without you ever noticing it leaving. And if you want proof this is not just a story about 3 or 4 famous names, here is the quiet fact that ties it together. A few years ago, a set of leaked tax records showed the 25 richest Americans, people whose combined wealth climbed by around $400 billion over a stretch of years, paid a true tax rate on that growth of roughly 3%. 3%. While a nurse or a teacher on a normal salary pays a rate many times higher on money they physically worked for. That is not because those 25 people cheated. It is because they lived on the buy, borrow, die machine, and the rest of us lived on a paycheck. Same country. Same code. Completely different games, and almost nobody explains that the door was open the whole time. If this rewired how you think about the difference between owning and earning even a little, subscribe, because the next video breaks down the step up in basis on its own, the exact way an ordinary family can pass a house and a portfolio to their kids, and legally erase decades of tax, step by step, so you do not make the expensive mistake of selling at the wrong time. And once you see how few decisions it actually comes down to, you are going to wonder why nobody ever just told you. The door was always open. Elon just walked through it first.